Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and thank you for tuning in. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Layla, the Lenormand reader, and today folks we are doing another card combination for the next couple of weeks. So I've got my deck and I'm just going to fan it out. So we pick our 2 cards for the next 2 weeks along with a few triplets in just a bit. So here are our 2 cards. Let's see. Key and house. Oh, that is so cute. The key and house is a very obvious combination, folks. I think any of us can read this. I think we've had the key recently, and then the house. Of course, it's all about home, family, and foundations. But let's recap the key as well. So the key is all about solutions, the idea of being able to unlock potential, opening up doors. It's a wonderful card for solutions, resolutions, and it also encourages us to be resourceful. The house is all about home, family, foundations, our inner circle, and also a sense of privacy. Now, obviously, when we see the key and house, this really brings the idea of a home. And in fact, the key and house often refers to buying property. Now, I think just 2 cards to suggest buying property is a little bit too specific for a pair, but it might apply. Definitely the idea of things going on around the house, solutions or resolutions around anything related to home and family is very much indicated here. But I really feel that with the key and house, the physical aspect of a home, the house, the place opens up. And so things can go really well with finding a place, with buying property, with establishing a home. And of course, the intangible aspects come through. So the idea of successfully laying the foundations, finding solutions, building something successful and solid are definitely indicated by the key and house. I really feel with this combination, the idea of the home comes through. And before I go for the triplet, I don't think it makes a difference if we have the house and key. I really think it's very similar here. I don't feel there's a difference in the order of the cards. Let's start with our first triplet. As you know, I do 3 of them. So I'm just going to take out this card and lay it on the right-hand side. The road, how amazing. So the house and road, I feel it has to do with a house move. Usually it's the stork that is very powerful for indicating a house move. But with the road, it can mean a house move as well. So when we have the key and house and then the road on the other side of the house, it probably indicates that we have done something successful with regards to where we currently live and we are moving on. So it can be buying or selling property, and this causes us to move. It can be that we found the right place that we moved to. But I feel that because the road is on the right-hand side of the line, I feel that this has to do more with the idea of moving, because we leave the house behind us and we move away. So I think that a move, leaving where we currently live, is very possible with the road. Let's switch these around a little bit. So if we put the road at the outset here, it's a bit different, right? And I can't help but think of the anchor here. So when you have a travel card and then the anchor, so a travel card on the left and the anchor on the right, it's like you've traveled and you arrive. You know, you travel and you land. I feel there's a similar energy when the house is on the right-hand side of the road, because it's like we've been looking, we've been searching, we've made a change, and then we arrive and we land. The house is a foundation, you know, it's still, it is established, just like the anchor. And with the key here, I feel what could be indicated is that we are moving to the right home, we are arriving to the right home, we found the right place. And so this is a wonderful set of cards here. Now, of course, the cards can apply in any number of contexts. This is the point of Lenormand, is to be able to stretch them for different contexts. So in case of work, I think this is a really good combination for work. The house in this case would represent our team, you know, the smaller circle of which we are part. And with the key, it's very positive. The key is wonderful for when it comes to work. The key is wonderful for leading projects, coordinating people, bring them all on the same table. And so when I find the road next to the key, the road is a little bit all over the place. You know, in many decks, the road is represented as several roads, and often the name is roads in the plural, not just singular. So they can mean, you know, this direction and going in that direction. And so it can feel like it's a little bit all over the place. But then the key comes in and it coordinates everything and brings everything onto the same table. And there is that sense of focus and coordination. And then we have the house on the other side of the key, which is establishing. And so I feel this is coming to a common ground. And though I've read this in the context of work, I really feel that this energy, this idea of, you know, bringing these separate directions into one focus can really apply in any number of contexts. So this is a lovely way of reading the cards. Let's try shifting around one more time. I don't think this is going to make a difference. We had, I don't think this is going to make a difference from the first, from what we just read. And then we saw the road on this side. How about the house, key, and road? I think that there could be a slight difference in nuance here if we like. It's going to, of course, depend on the question and the context, but I think this line could be telling us that it's a good idea to move. With the key in the center here, which focuses the line, any odd numbered line, the key suggests that it's a good idea to make a change. So it might be time to pick up and leave, to make a move, to sell, and to move on, because we've got the road on the right hand side. But the idea of the key in the middle here is that we're encouraged to make a change. We're encouraged to make a move. In a more metaphorical or a less tangible way, I feel that with the key and road, in contrast with the solid house, I feel this is a combination that suggests the idea of being more open to possibilities. So a little bit like getting out of our shell and not being so stuck in our ways, possibly. And then with the key and road, it's like opening up to possibilities. So I feel that this idea of being flexible is really well highlighted by these cards. Okay, let's move on to another triplet. We had the key and house. I'm going to just switch them back into the order we got them in. And let's pull this card. Okay, I'm going to put it on the left-hand side this time. So the woman, key, and house. I think that when we have people cards in such combinations, they don't really add so much, except that they tell us that they are part of the situation. It can be the woman who brings solutions to our home situation. It can be the woman who we buy and sell with. So if it were about a real estate question, for example, she may well be the real estate agent or the buyer. She could also represent the querent. I think this is a given, so we don't have to address this every time. But the woman and man can always represent the person we're reading for, or ourselves, if we're reading for ourselves. But apart from that, the woman here suggests that she brings solutions. I think she's someone smart. In the context of home buying, selling, she could be the real estate agent or the buyer herself. Now, if we had the woman on the right-hand side, the key, house, and woman, this can mean someone you share a space with. She could be a roommate, for example. She could be a housemate. In the context of work, she could be a colleague. And I think as it stands, the cards by themselves, even though the key is not so close to the woman, she could still be supportive. Like, we're not seeing issues. This is just a 3-card reading. And with the key, it affects the whole line. They're pretty close to each other. So I think this is a supportive woman. I don't think there is much of a difference here. If we had the woman in the middle, she would just be the focus of the situation. So it's possible here that whatever things you're doing on the home front, or if the house represents another context or another group, you know, here she's in the center of this. Sometimes the house can represent a group of people. It can suggest like an inner circle. So it's a bit tighter than the garden, for example. The garden is the community and society at large, but the house brings in this idea of intimacy and privacy. So when it comes to people, it tends to suggest people in our inner circle, in our closer circles. So with the woman here, she can be someone close to home, a family member or a family friend. And with the key, again, a supportive combination. She suggests someone we can trust, someone supportive. Okay, so people card, especially the significators, don't really influence a 3-card line so much, because they are very, very neutral cards and they get all of their indications from nearby cards. Let's go for our third triplet. Let's switch these around. And let's go for this card. Oh, the dog. Here's another people card. The dog is the card of friends and friendships. And so I think we are getting similar indications here. Anyway, we combine the cards. I think the same ideas that we got with the woman can apply. So I'm actually tempted to do a fourth triplet just for the sake of variety. But let's dig a little bit more into the dog. The thing about the dog is that it represents anyone in our peer group. So it represents siblings, friends, peers in general, colleagues on the job. So anyone who's in our level, at our level and in our circle in this sense. So with the house and dog, clearly this represents a family friend. It can represent a family member. And with the key, same idea, someone supportive who brings solutions. On the job, it would most probably represent a colleague. And in this case, it seems that we are getting along with the people on the job. Everyone is on the same page. We're working towards the same goals. There's a collaborative kind of energy here, which is very supportive because of the dog. It does bring, so unlike the woman, which is very, very neutral, the dog does bring this idea of friendship and connection. So in the context of work, it's great. In the context of home and family, it is also supportive, and mainly because of the key, because the dog can take on negative influences. Okay, I want to do one more triplet just for the sake of variety because the woman and dog are a bit similar. So let's go ahead and pick out a fourth card for a fourth triplet. Let's see what this one brings. Interesting. The lily is one of those cards you might not connect with. That is certainly the case for me. So I tend to see the lily as representing our life path in general, our career, and the idea of, what's ahead in a longer term kind of way. It's also associated with health, the idea of aging, maturing. And so with the key, I think this is a very positive combination in all of these different areas that I suggested through the lily. So when it comes to life and lifestyle, this is looking like a really healthy way to live. We've got an orderly routine. We're doing the right things. Everything is in place. It feels like there's a lot of order here through the house, key, and lily, and consistency. It's great for health, so there are solutions here thanks to the key in the middle. The house in health is, you'd have to force the correspondence a little bit. I tend to see it as representing the structure of the body, the idea of the skeleton and things like that. And so there could be some posture things going on, or maybe some bone things going on, but they go well, and with the key, it's an all-around a successful solution. But I think the idea of a healthy lifestyle in a broader sense is better indicated here. When it comes to career, this is a wonderful combination. It tells us that we are building the right foundation for the long term. We are on the right track with our career. We're doing the right things. And we could also be on our way to a promotion. And that's because the lily is associated with growth and maturity and the wisdom that comes with that. So it is very supportive in this context. If we switch the cards around a little bit, I don't feel it makes too much of a difference. I think here it can point to the idea of a home and house more, and that's probably because the house is right in the middle, so it brings into focus where we live, how we live. And the idea here, because of the lily at the outset, is possibly the suggestion that we want to look for a place where we can stay in for the longer term. And honestly, I don't think the order matters. I just feel that, it brings up this energy maybe a bit more. The idea of establishing ourselves for the future. What are we building for the future? Whether this is in an intangible sense or literally in terms of our home. Let's try the lily in the middle. Again, I'm not seeing that this is very, very different. It can point to a home-based business, for example. With the house and lily, maybe you're establishing yourself starting with home. And the key here is a very encouraging card, suggesting that we should give that a try. It can also mean that things take a bit of time because the lily is a slower card. So it can be a while before we find or we achieve the goals that we want or we get the results that we want. But it also encourages patience. So it does seem that we're on the right track. So, keep building these foundations until we achieve the success that we're after. So these are some pretty beautiful combinations that we saw today, folks, with the very, very obvious combination of the house and key. So definitely let me know your thoughts about these combinations. Let me know what you make of them, and also follow me on social media so that we follow them up through there. Be sure to check out the free resources that I offer. They're in the description box, and also everything else, the pro guides and the master courses if you're ready for the next step with Lenormand. So thank you so much for watching, folks. Please share this video and like it. And until we meet again, take very good care of yourself, and thanks again for watching.